I am excited to have Deborah Razo with me from LA. Welcome, Deborah, to the Income Flip podcast.
Thank you so much for having me on, Rob. I really
No,
appreciate it.
it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Hey, so as I was going and learning a little bit about your background, I was like, man, I've got a kindred spirit here. She runs a large investment network as well, but focused on empowering women. It's called the Women in Real Estate Network, REN for short. And Deborah, I want to unpack that. Like, how did you start that? How did that come about? Tell me a little bit
Right.
about that.
Right. So, first of all, I just want to say I've been an entrepreneur for like 30 years, but I didn't find real estate until about 13 years ago.
Mm,
And I started my journey because I wanted passive income. Right. I wanted that mailbox money. I had heard, I had read the little purple book, right? Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I was like, yeah, I want that passive income. I need to get me some of that. Right. And I started by flipping. I had a little bit of money and I was in LA and I thought I'll make some money flipping and then I'll reinvest that into buy and holds because that was always my outcome. And I started the Women's Real Estate Network because I was frustrated in the business. Now, I don't know if anybody out there has ever been frustrated in the real estate industry, but I'll tell you, it's pretty easy to do. You got to put out a lot of offers to be able to get the property that you want at the prices that you need to get them at. And sometimes, you're just rejected offer after offer after offer, and it can get really mentally frustrating. And
mm,
I was mentally frustrated. I was like, where are my girls in this industry? I wanted to be surrounded by my lady friends, and I actually just ended up getting together some women real estate investors. They weren't all flippers, they were from all different sides of the industry. And we ended up having brunch, right? I scheduled a Sunday brunch. And we just started exchanging resources. Oh, you need a contractor? I have one. Or you need
mm.
an attorney? I've got that. Or, how's that project going? We just ended up finding kindred spirits. And at the end of that brunch, I said, I was thinking about doing this quarterly. And they were like, no, let's do it every other month. And people opened up their houses and there was always wine involved. And, it ended up becoming something that I really started to rely on. Like,
Mm.
those were where I was getting support and encouragement in this crazy business. And there were other people there doing deals. So there was that momentum happening. And I stepped back at one point and I was just like, I get the benefit of being able to talk to these women on a regular basis. And there's a whole lot of women out there that maybe don't have that in their lives. And
Mm.
so I started the Women's Real Estate Network. And I started with a meetup in LA. And pre-COVID, it had grown to like 12 chapters across the country. And now we're all online, but it's still the same premise.
Mhm.
All different types of real estate investors can come and support and talk to, and you know, deal flow, money flow. It all happens, within the group. So and it's been wonderful. It's been a great support to me. you know.
Well, it's interesting because I mean that was pretty much why I started my investor network, in 2006, right? So in 2006, when did you start yours, by the
Oh,
way?
it's got to be 2015 or way back, way past you. Like you're an expert compared to me.
Yeah, no, so it was in 2006, but it wasn't called Grid at the time. It was just kind of like you. I just wanted to get together with like-minded people and talk shop, like talk shop, and so that's so cool. There's this thing that I believe that we really look for a community. Community really helps uh, power the entrepreneur, and I love what you're doing and how you're empowering your avatar entrepreneur. But I'm curious, like, how did you actually get started? Like, doing business in LA seems hard to me. Prices are super high. Like, you can't buy cash flow producing assets in LA, or can you? Right? And so tell me a little bit about your real estate journey. And
Sure. So I mentioned that I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. I've had several different businesses. But what I came to realize is that I was really creating my own job in those businesses. And so I think there are probably a lot of entrepreneurs out there that do the same thing. Like, okay, maybe I don't work for the man anymore. Now I'm the man. Like I've created a job for myself. And I had a wake up call. I had a really bad car accident, and that happened just over 13 years ago. And it was a blown tire. I was a passenger in an SUV, and the tire blew, and the car went out of control. And I remember as the car was spiraling out of control, we went into the dirt off of the freeway that we were on. And I remember thinking, oh, good, we're not going to hit anybody. Maybe I'm safe. And the fact of the matter is the rim of the blown tire dug into the dirt and the car flipped. So it flipped driver's side first. So I was a passenger and I got the brunt of the impact. And I got air-vac to a hospital, and I was told I had a broken neck. And it started a little over a year of healing, right? And I was an entrepreneur, but what I had done was I had created my own job. So my income directly reflected me taking time off of work to heal. And there was this just reality that set in for me. Life is short. Am I really living life the way I wanted it? And I think a lot of people go through these, what I call opportunities to start over, and I bet there's a lot of people out there right now with COVID. COVID, turned a lot of people's lives upside down, and, whether it's, an accident like it is for me, or the death of a loved one, or a divorce, people go through these turning points in their lives. And that was the turning point in mine. And I really realized I wasn't living the life I wanted. I had created a job for myself, and I wanted to change. And my brother, God bless him, had come out to help take care of me during that time. And he had done a bunch of Tony Robbins things. So he said, look, if you really want to change, I suggest you go to some Tony Robbins events and figure out the mindset involved in that. And so I did. And I went to my first event. I drank the Kool-Aid. I went to every event. I actually now work for the man. Oh, yeah. It's been a remarkable thing. And one of the things that I tell people all the time is that, you want to change something in your life, that's great. And there's the mechanics of changing it. But you actually need to change. You actually need to grow. You actually need to become the person that you need to be to have those things. And I had a lot of changing to do. And there was a lot of, habits that I had to really look at. But what I did was I started Googling passive income, and real estate kept coming up. And I was like, well, I need to get me some. Well, I hadn't worked in over a year, and I was depleted financially, and I needed to figure out a way how to buy some passive income, right? At the time, I was still like, okay, I need to buy some rentals, right? Because that's what everybody thinks, right? You need to buy some rentals and get that passive income. So I thought I'll flip, and I borrowed some money from my brother. I made $100,000 off of my first flip, and I was addicted. Hello. But then I had the challenge of, what do I do with that money? Because you're absolutely correct. You cannot, cash flowing properties in LA is a myth. It really rarely happens. So I had to start looking outside of LA. And that was a whole other adventure in risk tolerance, really. Like, I was like, oh, I thought I'd buy something around the corner that I can drive by and, have a sense of security because it's right here in front of my eyes. And I didn't have that option. So I had to really figure out how to build a team outside of California, how to trust and verify things, how to, get a portfolio going outside of California. So I started investing in single family homes in Memphis, Tennessee. I still have a portfolio of homes there. And then as my skill sets grew and as I was continuing to flip, I actually started developing here. And I took single family homes and we knocked them down. They were zoned for multi, and so we built fourplexes. And so I was doing that model, and then I was making bigger chunks, and then I started investing in multifamily as well. And then a girlfriend of mine from REN move to Puerto Rico. And when any of my friends move to any exotic location, I'm like, hey, I want to come visit. And I did. And she, of course, drove me around the island because what did we do while I was there? We looked at real estate because we're real
Sure.
estate geeks. And I ended up opening up a bed and breakfast with my two partners in Puerto Rico last October, and it's fun. Like I have a great time with it, and I still have that passive income coming to me. So if I get sick or want vacation, right, like I can do that. I'm slightly addicted to rehabbing, so I can't seem to pass up a good deal when it comes to that.
You know what's interesting? People don't realize that it's fun. It's a game. Like, people are always telling me like, "Hey, you're always on the go. You're always doing things. You're always like looking at property. You're always like, when do you not work?" I'm like, it doesn't feel like work because I'm just having so much fun doing what I do. And I hear you saying the same thing, right?
Mm.
When you go and you travel somewhere, like my wife and I we're gonna go explore the island. We're gonna go buy, possibly look at buying real estate. Now I've never been to Puerto Rico. I am going for the first time in the next 2 months. I think it's June. Actually, I'll be in Puerto Rico in June for the first time ever in my life,
Yay.
and I'll get to explore the island. I'll probably look at some real estate while I'm there. What part of the island do you have?
Right,
Or
the bed and breakfast is in San Juan. It's in a little suburb called Miramar, and it's gorgeous. I'll send you the link. Maybe you need a place to stay.
send me the link. That'd be great. This is how this works,
This is
right?
how this works. It's an incredible place to be, and it's got some amazing tax credits for real estate investors,
Yeah,
which
that's fantastic.
which is incredible. So, I mean, there is that whole tropical island thing, but there is also some real great business sense behind that, so it's fabulous.
Yeah, it's funny because just a complete aside, but my best friend from first grade, he I met him in Costa Rica. My dad was a diplomat for the U.S., and so we traveled right all over. His name is Marcel, and he moved to Puerto Rico. I want to say like a decade ago, and he kept saying, "Robbie, you have to come here. You have to come. You have to come." I'm now kicking myself that I did not buy something a decade ago in Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
But when do they say is the best time to plant a tree, right? It's
Right.
like right now,
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And so that brings me to a point here. You flip this car, you're in the hospital. I mean, you're out of commission for an entire year. Your savings are depleted. I'm sure you went through some form of depression, some form of I mean, like I don't want to brush past that. That was probably a very difficult valley that you had to walk through. What are some of the learnings you got from that? Obviously, the big learning was I'm only as good as the next deal, and so I need to build passive income, right?
Yeah.
But what else did you learn on that journey?
Um, the learnings for me came while I was in the Robbins environment. And,
Mm,
I think you learn a lot about the stories we tell ourselves and the stories we tell others. And, I, I, I think we've all met people who we didn't think had a lot going for them. Maybe they were economically depleted. Maybe they came from a family that didn't support them, and they made it happen. And you wonder why, you know? And I think some of the basis of that is about the story they tell themselves. And we tell ourselves story all the time. So, it was pointed out to me that this could have been a story of something that happened to me, and I could have stayed in a position of being scared, of being in a car with somebody else driving, of, having something spontaneous, accidental that happens and being very tentative for the rest of my life. And instead, I chose to make it a story about life is short and I'm going to go out and get me some.
mm-hmm.
like, live for today. Love the people that you love today. Tell them that you love them today. Live to your fullest today. I mean, and I still live that. You can see I'm getting choked up.
Oh yeah.
I still live that. right? Because it can all be gone like that, right? And it's like, nope, I'm not going to play that game. I'm going to live full out today, and I'm going to do my best so that when I go to bed tonight, and if I get the opportunity to do it again tomorrow, here we go. you know so really, really, focus in on what matters to you. And what matters to me is helping other people, helping myself, learning in the process, getting to repeat, getting to make flub ups and then try again, like, I mean, it's all very valuable to me. And it's the story that I made from the accident, and I
Mm.
think we all make stories. And it wasn't about what happened to me, but what happened for me,
Yeah,
and I think that makes a difference.
I love that. And it does take, I think, a wake up call sometimes
Mm,
for people to really understand. And it's like, why? What don't you don't have to wait for something big and monumental to happen in your life.
no, no.
It's as simple as just a decision to be not satisfied with where you are and saying, I'm going to change, right?
Yeah,
It's a decision, right? Like Tony talks about, you make the decision with the
right,
snap of your fingers, but oftentimes people are in deep dark places before they allow themselves to just be like, enough of this, is enough pain. Like I need to
right.
change this narrative in this story. So
Yeah.
I can feel what you're saying, which is why probably, and I'm just guessing, but why probably you're such a good coach, right? To
Hmm.
help people kind of go on this journey,
Hmm.
because it takes somebody that understands that change is necessary, and and that all the juice is on the other side of that fear that people typically have.
I think it's like it's a double-edged sword, right? It does take something to understand that pain is necessary, because there are only two things that move people, and that's pain and pleasure. And pain is the most, like if there were a competition, it'd be pain that moves people the most, farther, faster, pain. But the fact of the matter is, I also stand for a group of women who might not know what's possible for them,
Mm,
because they don't have a lot of role models that show them that until they meet our women. Like I didn't meet women who owned multiple multifamilies or hotels, or I didn't see those at the real estate clubs I was going to. It was always a man in front of the room. And don't get me wrong, I've learned a lot from men. I have no problem with that. But sometimes when a woman is up there, I'm more identify with her. You would identify with a man who's like you, right? When a woman is up there and I think, oh God, she's doing that. I could do
mm-hmm,
that,
mm-hmm.
And I think it's both sides. It's like, get out of the pain and stop thinking that you couldn't do it. You want passive income? Go get it. It's out there, right? And then find somebody who looks like you and acts like you, and you can mentor with, or you can that can turn around and say, go ahead. It's out
Mm-hmm.
there. Go get it. I can do it. You can do it.
It's so true. It's so true. It's interesting. Just case in point on this, my first mentor, I 100% identified with him, right? And he gave me permission. Like that's how I think about it. Like he gave me permission to live a very big life because I saw it was possible. And it was almost like this mirror reflection. And I I'm indebted to him for just, and by the way, it was just it was just it was just being in proximity of somebody. Like it wasn't necessarily what he said or how he said. Like I always say, he like wasn't a very good coach, right? Couldn't tell you how he did it, but I didn't. I just had to see him do it, and that built my belief in that it was possible to do it, and and I'm forever grateful, which is why I love sharing stories like yours, Deborah,
Mm,
right? Because people will listen to this and identify with you, and you've unlocked a better future for somebody that, by the way, you may never ever get to meet them,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Hopefully they reach out to you
yeah,
and they connect with you. But there's so many people that you affect just by going out and doing. right? And carrying that flag. So good for you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
so where do you want to take, you know, Ren? Where do you want to take your business? What's the vision? Just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, it's changing all the time. Rob, you've been in this business longer than I have, so maybe I can I can learn more about this from you. It was a goal of mine to get passive income and quote unquote get out of the rat race, right?
Hmm.
And I did that. And then, I was like, oh yeah, but I want to live a little better lifestyle, so I need to up that income. So I've been doing that, and now things are changing for me again. As far as the span at which I want to help people.
Hmm.
I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. I've been in this business for a long time, and really like the opportunity to share that with other people who are
Hmm.
really serious about wanting to grow their business. I think that when you make other people millionaires, when you make anyone a millionaire, they understand the value of community and giving back into whatever community they have. For a lot of women, it means their families, and I've helped a lot of women, some single moms that this is their only income, and some, at home moms who just want to be able to afford a better vacation during vacation times for their family, or the private school tuition. You know what I mean? And whatever it is, I feel like when you empower other women or any other people to do that, you're empowering them to help a community. And
Hmm.
I'm a first generation American. Both of my parents were immigrants. And I was really taught to keep your head down, pay your bills, don't dream too high. Like I very much taught that mentality. And I just want to open up to other people, like really what's possible out there for you and for your family and for your generations and for the community that you belong to, and being able to give back to that. So yeah, helping other business owners is really where my heart's at, and specifically in real estate, but in business in general. So mhm.
That's fantastic. Do you have a model? Like, have you crystallized the journey that you take somebody on? An
Yeah.
entrepreneur that comes to you with maybe some entrepreneurial background, but they're there's a lot of building of the entrepreneur, right? When you
Mm.
think about it, like there's a lot of building of the entrepreneur. But I'm wondering if you've kind of crystallized a model, and if the answer is no, that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
but maybe you have a journey that you take somebody
Well,
on.
it's interesting because of my training in Robbins. I have coaching training, and then because of my real estate background, I have obviously the real estate training, and I've been trying to marry the two in a mentorship program.
Hmm.
And I run the mentorship program with another woman who has like 35 years of real estate experience, and we have been really fine tuning and honing in on it because I mean. I say this all the time, and I'll say it here. I can tell you in half an hour how to fill out an offer. The mechanics of it are simple. There's no doubt about that. But then when I tell you to go and make 10 offers a week, whoosh, the pushback. The pushback is real, right?
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that is all in mindset. That's
Mm.
all in the experience of it. That's all
Hmm.
in, I don't know if I want to make an offer because what if I get it and I haven't done the due diligence on it? Like there's just all this chatter,
Hmm.
about people getting into action.
Hmm.
And this is an action business.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Like you're not going to make it if you can't get into action. So we have been really trying to fine tune that
Mm.
because
Hmm.
that's where the real change happens. That's where the
100%.
mother hits road. And I often say, yes, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy, and so you got to go out there and put it out there, and and constantly be making offers and talking to people, and
Hmm.
for me it's become more natural because I love it, and so it's easy for me, but it wasn't in the beginning. In the beginning wasn't so far ago that I don't remember it.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm doing bigger projects now. And do they scare me? Uh-huh. Yeah, they do. Right. That's part of the reality, you know?
Yeah.
But I've got a little bit of a confidence muscle now, and
Yes.
I have resources that I can tap
Yes.
into. And I tell other women, I'm like, you want to borrow some of my confidence? You can. Like, go ahead. Like, I'm gonna give it to you. You know,
I love that.
because that's, you know, that's where the rubber meets the road. You know, I would love to say that every one of my mentees gets into deals. We haven't got 100% rate yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
Because it's so much a combination of skill set and mindset.
Yeah, I can hear you understand that journey. Like I teach this 7 level framework. I call it the 7 levels of wealth. And level 1 is mindset, energy, and identity, right? And it is the foundation of all of it, because you got to get those pieces right. That's the internal chatter. That's the I can't do it. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. Like, that it's all that bullshit that is just rolling around in our head. All these old stories that you have to
Right.
kill and eliminate, and you got to like slay those dragons to get the level 2, which is like starting to make all that predictable income. It's the action. It's the action that has to happen, right? And and so I love that. People could just spend, like, if you could spend a lot of energy just giving people the right foundation to launch and build it and scale a business, like that's the juice. That's where it's at,
Oh,
right?
we're kindred spirits. I love what you just said. We
Yeah.
are. It all just starts right there, you know, and you know, some people are quicker to pick it up. Some people need a little more help along the way. Some people need a quick, swift kick in the ass, and
Yeah.
like I do all of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what a good coach does, right? Like they find our triggers, they find ways to give us the tough love that we need to 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 move us forward, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes people could just see somebody else do it. Somebody else. Sometimes you have to borrow somebody else's confidence to do it, just like you said. Sometimes they just need, like, just do it. Like, go do it. Like, do it. Like, and I'm gonna watch you do it, right? But the whole goal is, if you could just, anybody listening right now, is to take imperfect action. It will never be perfect, right? Imperfect action is always going to trump perfect inaction every single time. And get yourself into a little bit of trouble, not a lot of trouble, a little bit of trouble, right? Because then you got to figure out a way to solve the problem. And what you realize is that we're just in the problem solving business, right? For our clients, for ourselves, right? And the fun is in solving problems. It's like a puzzle, right? And if you have a map, if you follow a map, like Deborah has a map, a journey she takes people on, then you can minimize the problems that you have, and make, you do have to still experience some pain, because, like you said, Deborah, in the beginning, like, people learn through that, right? Oh, I won't do that again. I won't make the phone call that way again. I won't make the offer that way again. I won't, right? They need to be mistakes that you can recover from, right? Not like, oh, I'm just going to completely bet all of my life savings on this one deal that I know nothing about, right? And that's where you have good shepherds, good guides that can help, take you on that journey.
Absolutely. I say this, and this is from me being an entrepreneur of several different businesses. As an entrepreneur, you are a problem solver. That's all there is
Mm,
to it.
mhm,
Like, I mean,
mhm.
it's like what you said. And I jokingly tell my mentees that, like, if my phone doesn't ring unless there's a problem on the other line. Because the truth is, no one calls me when everything's going okay. No one does. My construction crews, my property managers, no one calls me to go, hey, it's all working fine, Deborah. Like, no one. My phone rings. I know there's a problem on the other end. And you know what? I just have the confidence to start having the discussion to figure out different solutions to work through it. and you're right. It is like a puzzle, right?
It's a
And
puzzle.
it's a puzzle. And it's like, well, would this work? Well, would this work? Like and brainstorming with another person to find out how you can work it out, So yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Deborah, if people wanted to get a hold of you,
Yeah.
like what's the best way that they can reach out? What's the best website? What's the
Sure. If you want to just get a hold of me, I'm at deborahrazo.com, and that's spelled DEBORAH, Razo, RAZO.com. And if you want to check out REN, go to reninspires.com, and you can do that on the website. You can do that on Facebook. You can do that on Instagram. We're everywhere. So go to Ren Inspires.
I love that. I one final question. What is that? What does REN's structure look like then? Like, are they monthly meetings? Are they bi-monthly meetings?
Yeah.
It sounds
Um,
like they're all online now versus wine. Like wine sounds a lot more fun than all online. But
yeah.
what does that look like?
So right now they are monthly meetings online. We have a
Okay.
different woman every month that comes and speaks to us about her particular business model. So we have somebody who's coming to speak to us about mobile homes. We have somebody who's coming to speak to us about capital raising.
Mm,
So every month we have that, and those are free to members. But you can actually, if you're not a member and you want to come, you can it's $25, and it's a Zoom meeting. So our memberships have their own Facebook page and their own WhatsApp group, and we have special member only meetings that we call deal maker meetings. So
mm.
those meetings are where we all come and present deals or present opportunities, or if you have capital and you're looking to invest, you get to know each other. And we aren't localized anymore, although the bulk of my community is in the Los Angeles area. So we do have some in-person things. We had an event last year that was geared towards women who've gone big. We put that on in Phoenix, Arizona. So that was all women who were in industrial, multifamily, or hotels.
Oh,
Large
that's cool.
large things, and luxury home developer woman. And so we all, and then that also had a bus tour. So then we went around to everybody's properties. So that was really fun. And then I've done a thing in Puerto Rico
Hmm.
to educate investors about the opportunities in Puerto Rico. I've also done, ADU walks and things like that. So we do have some in-person things, but they're more quarterly than they are regularly on a monthly basis.
That's pretty cool. So it sounds like there's a membership to get access in the REN, right?
Yes,
What
there
are
is.
and that there's tiers as well.
There isn't. There's just a membership, and that's
Okay.
$249 a month. I mean, $249 a year. So
Oh
it's
wow.
it's
Yeah.
very reasonable, and it's the entry level. We do have a mentorship program. We have online education. Our portfolio of that kind of stuff is building. But yeah, that's
Well,
what it is.
what's and you won't say this, but I know this because there's so much power in community or the relationships, the deals that are getting done in a community, the learning that happens. It has been the single best thing that I could have ever done in my life is to build a community of
Well, it
people.
is, and I'm going to go back to how this started. I started gathering these women because I was frustrated. And then we started meeting on a regular basis. And over that next year or two, before I started REN, I JV'd with those women. I lent to them. They lent to me. Like, what? Like, and trust somebody? Oh, you see them
Absolutely.
all the time? Oh, yeah. I'm going to do business with them. We're going to make money for each other, right? And then
Yeah.
that's how REN started. So my vision for REN has always been to have a community like that. So, yeah. So,
Well,
wow. Yay.
congratulations on building it. I think
Thank
that's
you.
awesome.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Well, thank you for having me here. I really appreciated this opportunity to talk to you.
Sure, it's been my pleasure, and I know that people that are listening learned a lot today, right? And so check out Deborah, go to Ren, and Deborah. So nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Thank you so much.
Take care.